Hi, I'm Jennifer Garrett with Elevate Your Hustle, and I am the guest today on The Inspiring Show.
Welcome to The Inspiring Show with Paul and Jennifer Hensel, featuring inspiring interviews with thought leaders, storytellers, entrepreneurs, influencers, and legacy builders just like you. Learn from experts about finding your voice, mastering your mindset, and creating movements with your message. Tap into timeless wisdom and today's top strategies for transcending to new levels of success, happiness, and joy.
I'm Jennifer Hensel.
And I'm Paul Hensel.
Welcome to The Inspiring Show. Today on the show, we have Jennifer Garrett. We really resonated with her because she uses football as an analogy for creating your game plan.
Jennifer Garrett is an internationally recognized leadership coach, speaker, author, Army lawyer, and former Fortune 100 corporate executive who has a passion for helping and inspiring others, pushing boundaries, and driving individuals and organizations out of their comfort zones to achieve higher levels of success. Jen has become known as a high-performance strategist and expert by teaching individuals how to cross the goal line by using principles from American football and her move the ball frameworks. With her football and business expertise, Jen's organization Feel the Push also works with athletes as they transition off the field to be all-star players in life beyond the game.
All right, let's listen to this interview with Jennifer Garrett.
Well, thank you so much, Jennifer, for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you on The Inspiring Show. Now, you've helped a lot of people achieve personal and career goals. You've achieved a lot, and we'll dive into that in a bit, but you've also had to overcome a lot of adversity to get where you are today. So could you share some of that with us?
Yeah, certainly. So my background is I spent 20 years in Fortune 50 companies, large corporations, doing a lot of different roles from engineering to legal, sales, marketing. But before all that, when I was a teenager, I had my first child very young, teenage single parent going through school, which is for any single parents who are watching, that's a lot of, it's very hard. It's a lot of work. And so that was one of the initial hurdles that I really had to overcome in my life to be successful in my career. And then in my career, really dealing with people who were not happy to see you succeed. I think we all can relate where there's people in our lives that don't try to push us up. We like to think that everyone's there to help us, right, and to empower us. And that's not always the case. So I learned some really hard lessons about how not everyone is nice out there, and how there are people that want to see you fail, and there are people that want to actively do things to set you back and to watch you kind of, crash and burn, so to speak. And so, I've used the game of football to really help me, and lessons that I've observed as a kid watching the game, taking those lessons, applying them to my own situations, obstacles, to navigate through them and to move the ball forward in my life.
So why did you choose football?
Great question. So I did not grow up in a football family. I'm an only child, but my parents, grew up in Chicago, and my parents were big Chicago Bears fans in the 80s. And so I watched football with my parents as a kid, and I just fell in love with the game. It was really intriguing to me. I mean, it's a fast-paced game, so that dynamic is exciting, but it was really about those games where there were teams coming from behind, 2, 3, 4 touchdown deficit in the second half and turning it around. And I just found that fascinating. And it was really a testament to that the game isn't over until it's over, right? And you can come back, and you can, work as a team and overcome and play the game really well to be able to move the ball, put those points on the board, and then to win.
That's amazing. We were married in the Oakland Alameda Coliseum.
Oh, that's awesome.
Raiders.
Yes.
We're Raiders family.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think of the Raiders going to Las Vegas?
I like it. I mean, like the value of their team is going to jump. Now they have a new stadium, but they have a state where there's no tax. So that should draw some players to the
Yeah.
Raiders. We'll see how that goes. I love Gruden. I liked him when he first was with the Raiders. So we'll
But
see
that's
how
why
that
we
goes.
love the approach, because we have an appreciation for football. So we really appreciate your approach and how you're using this to help people create plans for their life and career.
Oh, that's great. Well, I'm glad to know that you are football fans.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're all in the family.
Yeah. Do you still like the Bears? Or
I do. Yes, they are my. I think if you're growing up in Chicago, how can you not? You know,
Yeah.
Chicagoans tend to be very loyal to their teams, and there's been some trying times, let me tell you, but we stay loyal to our teams.
Awesome. Now, football has a lot of great lessons. I know you know that. But like, why is getting the first down so important in life?
Well, I think getting the first down is important to us off the field because sometimes we're super motivated and we have these really big goals. And what happens is for that first week or two, you were really excited and we're just hard charging. And then the rest of our life kicks in and then we get busy and we don't make the progress that we want. And then we get demotivated. And so why the next first down or getting that next first down is important is because the first down represents a mini milestone. And so what I do is I encourage people to have those big goals, but then break them down into more measurable, smaller chunks. So that way you're focusing on something that seems more achievable to you, which will reduce your stress. It'll reduce your feelings of being overwhelmed. And then you'll see the progress, and then you'll be able to celebrate your accomplishment, and that'll give you more energy and momentum to continue on. And when you look at football games, teams don't look at getting into the end zone on each and every play. They focus on getting that next first down and that incremental movement. And that's what gets you to win games, is that consistency.
Yeah. Gaining momentum, building confidence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so important to celebrate every win, every little win along the way.
Absolutely. Yes. And I was talking with a friend of mine a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about how he also assigns points for little things each day that you do. So you're celebrating getting points for these little things, and then you reward yourself at the end of the week or the end of the day if you have enough points, because you've been practicing the behaviors and the habits that you need to achieve whatever it is you're looking for. And just celebrating those mini wins. I mean, all of it's important. It's not just the big wins that we should be celebrating.
Oh, that's a great idea.
That's a really good analogy in life, because you don't have to look at, your goal a year, 5 years from now. It's like what you said, like looking at the first down and gaining momentum. I like that a lot.
Right. And it makes you feel like you're getting closer to the goal, especially if it's a bigger goal that seems kind of out there. If you have these smaller milestones, it's like, yes, I did that. I made progress. If you, just as an example, if you have someone that's looking to lose 100 pounds, right? And 100 pounds is a lot of weight, and that can be very overwhelming. But if you say, okay, I'm going to focus on just 10 pounds this month, right? That's my next first down. That seems more manageable than the larger, I'm trying to lose 100-pound goal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. What are some other lessons from football that people can use in their lives?
Yeah, so another lesson that I like to talk about a lot is this concept of fourth down moments. Because as in football, where there are fourth down situations where the team has to decide, am I going to go for it? Am I going to punt? What am I going to do? We are faced with similar situations, and we need to decide. And it's very easy for us to just punt, right? Kick the can down the road and say, I'll figure that out another day. And so one of the things that I talk about in my book is really thinking through, is it the right time to punt? Sometimes it is, and that's okay too. You have to know when it's time to say, no, I've got other priorities and I'll work on this other thing later. But there's other times, maybe it's time to go for it, but there's fear that's holding you back, or there's something else that you're allowing to be an excuse, and you really should figure out, well, how can I get to where I'm trying to go?
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes it's good to be on the offensive or good to be on the defensive.
Right. Yes. And then I'd say another lesson has to do with managing the game clock is another one that I really like, because, that's one of the things when, I was watching football as a kid, and you see these teams coming back, they've got to execute first and foremost, but it's also managing the time that they have left on the clock, right? To be able to execute effective plays to get them scoring the touchdowns or the field goals or whatever they need to be able to win. And in our own lives, we need to be managing our clock effectively as well. So we all have 24 hours in the day, 1,440 minutes. The people that are successful in life tend to be more intentional, more purposeful, and more productive with how they spend those minutes versus other people that are just kind of wasting time away. And the thing about time is that you can never get it back, right? You can make more money, but you can't get the time back.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's so important.
Yeah, well, getting momentum, I mean, it's good to grab that momentum, but that momentum can also be lost too, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And so how do you deal with that failure then, or that rejection, to try to get that momentum back?
Sure, it's staying connected to your why and to your purpose. And so why is whatever it is that you're trying to do important to you. So when you do have a setback, you have a quote unquote failure or an unexpected outcome, how do you shake yourself off and say, okay, I'm going to learn from this, right? And I'm going to continue on because whatever it is I'm working on is important to me. So maintaining that connection to purpose is absolutely critical if you want to be able to regain momentum in your life.
Oh, that's amazing. You really model everything you teach, and you can even see it in your brand. I just love how you've modeled everything from the football, but also all your strategies align with the game. It's so interesting how you've done it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, because there are so many great lessons, but so many good analogies I haven't kind of heard like that before. The first down one is really good. Makes a lot of sense.
And the fourth down moments, that's a really good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good way to think about it.
One other thing I'll share, I like to analogize people. I want people thinking about how they're the quarterback in their own life. And so it's really up to you to take action to move the ball forward. And even if you're on a team at work and you may not be the leader of that team, you have a role. So I like people to still think that you're the quarterback of whatever it is that you need to get done for that particular team. So just keeping that frame is, okay, I'm the quarterback. What am I going to do today? Who's on my team? Who can I leverage to, make plays, to move that ball forward, make that forward progress. It's an easy way for people to think about, okay, I'll be and everyone likes being the quarterback, right? Isn't it fun to say I'm the quarterback? And so I really like people thinking about that they are the quarterback of their lives. They are the quarterback in the workplace. And so they really need to take charge and command and take ownership over what's going on, so that they can achieve the results that they're looking for.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so much more of an empowering position to approach things rather than just being subservient to the whole process. You're actually taking charge of your piece.
Exactly. Yes.
I read correctly, you have 7 degrees and you did that all while being a single mom?
Yes, that's correct.
Wow.
Wow.
That's
quite
really
an achievement.
impressive.
Thank you.
And you're also, just to help me out, I forget the name of it, but you're on like the board for the Women's Football Conference.
Yes, the Women's National Football Conference is a semi-professional women's football league here in the U.S., and they've just expanded to Mexico too. And so their season will kick off on April 4th. And it runs through the end of May.
Wow. How did you get involved in that?
I was, LinkedIn is a great platform for networking and just meeting fantastic people. And someone reached out to me on LinkedIn and said, hey, we'd love for you to be involved in our league. We're kicking off in 2019. And so I said, sure, let's have a conversation. And I just absolutely loved what they were doing. So I wanted to be a part of it.
Now, I mean, not only that, but you're helping like current and former athletes too.
Yes,
either
that's
get
correct.
Reacclimated into like business or whatever else. Tell us more about that.
Yeah. So when a lot of athletes come off the field and they're done, they hang up their cleats, it's definitely a process to transition. And it's a lot of change because you've gone through a very structured environment. You're told where to go, when to be there, what to wear. I mean, you have your whole day's plan. And then when you get that phone call saying, hey, we don't need you anymore, thank you. And you have to, go figure out what's next. It's a struggle because there's this loss of identity and there's this loss of team. And so trying to figure out, well, what am I going to do now is something that a lot of them find challenging.
Mm-hmm. I've heard some people, the thing they miss most is the camaraderie.
Yes, absolutely.
And to show them how to network, help them to get, into other communities that they can find that collaboration.
Right. Yes. Yes. It's very much a loss of that team, that camaraderie, that identity. And so trying to find yourself after that. Some people are very good with it, with the transition, but there are a lot of people that struggle with it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I can imagine. I mean, for a lot of people, this is everything they knew growing up. Like, this is it.
Yes. Yes,
And this
exactly.
was their way out, really.
Exactly. And, playing professional football, just as an example, I mean, the average career now is under 2 years. So it's very short. And
Yeah.
you never know, it could be that a team doesn't sign you anymore. It could be you have a season ending or career ending injury, right? And so sometimes it just catches you by surprise. And then you're struggling to figure out, what am I going to do now? Because I had planned on playing football for a lot longer and that plan just didn't happen.
Yeah, totally. But now, I mean, there's more players retiring early.
That is true. Yes.
So have you kind of found that kind of statistic rise over the last couple of years?
Yeah, I haven't seen any data on the number of players that are actually retiring sooner in their career, but it's something that I'm curious now to see how that, I know it's trending upward, but I'm curious to see what the actual numbers are showing.
The nice thing is, at least they have all the skills that they've learned, the mental skills, the discipline, the focus, all of that can serve them in other careers for their second act.
Absolutely. Yes, there's a lot of skills that you learn on the field that are very applicable off the field. So that's what I learned, as a kid watching the game and being able to take away things as a spectator. So definitely, playing the game day in and day out. There's so many things that you learn that position you to be successful in other ventures outside of sports.
And so you really kind of coach and help people in that regard then.
Yes.
Now, you're also involved with helping former and current military as well. So I find that fascinating and really cool. So tell us about that. Like, how'd you get involved in that?
Yeah, so I'm serving currently in the Army National Guard as a lawyer.
Wow.
Yes, and so I'm around the community because of that role. And a lot of the struggles that I shared with you a minute ago about professional athletes, military service members also have that similar loss of structure, loss of team, loss of camaraderie. There's an identity struggle. They're trying to figure out what's next for them. So they're very, very similar challenges between the two groups.
Yeah, well, then also dealing with, post-traumatic stress and the things that come with that, what they've seen, what they've gone through, that a lot of us haven't.
Right, absolutely.
And you're on the board at, is it USC?
Yes, University of Southern California. They have a master's program. It's like an MBA for veterans specifically. So they do MBA type curriculum, but there's also, it's really just a group of their peers, right, of veterans, people that understand them, that have gone through the transition. So there's a lot of focus on how do you transition outside, because some of the students are still serving in the military. A number of them are recently exited servicemen. And then you've got people that are still trying to, look for what's next in their career, but they're still early in that transition too. And so the program is a great resource to really help people get focused on, okay, what do I want to do next in my career? And they have a great mentoring group as well. So each student gets paired up with a mentor, and then they have access to all of the board members who are industry leaders in various different industries, so they can reach out and get some coaching and guidance and kind of see what paths or what areas they may want to take their career.
Oh, that's amazing. What an amazing program.
Yes, it's one of a kind for sure.
I'm really impressed with all that you're involved with and all that you do. Not just moving the ball for you. You seem like you're scoring a lot of touchdowns.
Well, thank you. And for me, I really think it's about helping. I mean, we all have our own goals and things that are important to us, but I think it's important that we don't lose sight of, we should be helping other people, and good leaders are about inspiring and enabling and empowering other people to find their greatness as well and to do great things.
That's
really
great.
Yeah,
so
really good.
If you were to give somebody 3 tips of how they can start moving the ball in their life,
Sure.
What would you say?
The first is you have to get clarity on what it is that's important to you. So what, in my book, Move the Ball, I talk about what game are you playing? So you need to decide, what is the game? What are the goals, right? So you need to get very clear on where it is you want to go in many aspects of life, not just in the career standpoint, from a financial standpoint, health, relationship, all of those things. So That's number one. Then when you have those identified, it's about committing to those, taking ownership, committing to those goals. And then third is taking action on the goals. And so, if it's a shorter term goal, you should be taking action on it more consistently than if it's a longer term goal, right? Like if you have plans for retirement, maybe you're just saving some money every month, but there's not a lot of action, tons of steps you can be doing. But if there's something, let's say you want to run a marathon next year, well, then you probably should be training for that now, right? And so I think it's about having the courage to take action on those things, even when you don't feel like it, or it's not fun for you, or it's pushing you out of your comfort zone. You've got to get clarity on what you want to do, commit to that, take action, and don't make excuses as to why you're not getting things done.
Oh, that's great. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Can you tell us more about your book?
Yeah. So the book is called Move the Ball, and it basically just draws parallels between different football lessons to our lives. So it's not just about how football connects to business. It's about how football and the lessons from the football world, how they can connect in all aspects of your life. And so again, I analogize you to being the quarterback, right? And so it's really up to you to take action. And so I give you a number of different strategies to think about. Part of it is around just getting organized. So planning, getting the clarity, then developing your game plan, your playbook, right? What strategies are you going to use to get the next first down, right? And then it's about finding the team that's going to help you get there, but also getting rid of the people that are not going to help you. So too often we hang on to toxic people or people that are detrimental to what we're trying to do. And so the book discusses what do you do with those people? Sometimes you don't completely get rid of them. Sometimes you just push them to the sideline because they're not going to be helpful for this specific goal, but they may be someone that you value, at their relationship for other things.
Yeah, that's really important. Setting boundaries.
Yes, absolutely.
You want to dive into the speed round?
Okay.
I'll ask you 5 quick questions and you can give the answer that first pops into your head.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. So first one is, what do you do for fun?
Well, I like to watch football for one. So I guess that'll be for fun. I watch football. Even when it's not football season, I still will look and see if I can see, games replayed, or I'll even go look at YouTube clips and I'll watch just awesome plays because I get energized from watching those things.
Really cool.
I know it's goofy.
What's your favorite quote?
This is tough for me because there's so many great quotes out there, but I think one that I really focus on a lot now is it's about never being making sure you're not the smartest person in any room that you walk into. And the reason I share that is, there's so many motivational quotes that you can pick, right? They're like, yes, I align with that. But this one's important to me because you are a function of the people that you surround yourself with. And if you're surrounding yourself with people that are not at a higher level than you in life, then you're not leveling up your own life. And so how do you get better? How do you grow? It's by learning from people that have experiences that can teach you to get to that next level. So that's one that I really am trying to live by, and making sure that I'm continually learning and involved with people that are more successful than me, that have done things that I haven't, that are important to me, so that I can continue to evolve and grow.
Oh, that's a great answer. I love that one.
Thank you.
So who has inspired you the most in your life?
Great question. I would say, I'm going to say my mom is inspirational to me because my mom is a first generation in the U.S. She came to the U.S. in the 1960s from the Philippines. She had graduated from nursing school and came to Chicago to be a nurse. Now, keep in mind, in the 1960s, we didn't have the internet, right? You couldn't just go on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn and try to connect with people and start making friends. Like, that didn't exist. So to go, halfway across the world, essentially, to a new and distant land kind of took a big act of courage, right? To do that. She didn't have family here when she came. She really just took a leap of faith and came to the U.S. to start her career. And
Wow.
she's just a very hardworking person her entire life, very compassionate and giving person, which is also important. There's lots of hardworking people out there, but it's also, what are you doing to help other people as well? And so she's definitely one of those people that is always looking to serve and to help others.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah. What's your favorite book?
My favorite book, one book that I really like is Good to Great by Jim Collins. And what that book is about is it's about making sure you have the right people on your team, but they're on the bus with you, because he uses this bus analogy, but you're on the bus with the right people, but they're also in the right seats. So, in my football world, it's about making sure you have the right team, but that the players are playing at the right positions, right? Like everyone has a job to do. And so you want to make sure that you have the right people that are best suited for each of the roles that you need on your team.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a good one. Classic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can I share one more that I really like? Sorry.
Yeah.
Totally. Yes.
There's another book. It's called How Full Is Your Bucket? I don't know if you've heard of this book or not, but this was probably maybe 18 years ago. I was in the workforce and my HR manager was like, I have some books for you to read. And he gave me a whole bunch of books, and this was one of them. And it was the shortest book. So I was like, that's the one I'll start with. And the book I thought might have been having to do with like how full is your plate, time management, but it wasn't. It was about how each of us have a bucket, and people can choose to be bucket dippers or bucket fillers. And we can choose to dip from other people's buckets with negativity, or we can choose to fill other people's buckets with positivity, which then also fills our bucket. And so it was a really great book about being mindful of how are you interacting with other people? Are you being that positive, ray of sunshine? Are you bringing positive energy into every space that you enter? Or are you being a negative Nancy and a Debbie Downer and dragging the room down with you because you're just not either being conscious of how you are or you don't care, right? We know those people that are just always frumpy and then just sucks to be around them, right?
Yeah.
So I love that book, and they've actually made a children's version of it, because I heard my daughter, when she was in 3rd grade, she had made a reference to me. She was like, such and such, filled my bucket. I was like, what are you talking about? And she told me. I was like, oh, that's so great that they're encouraging kids to be thinking about that as well too. So that's another book that I really like.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that's really
I haven't
good.
heard of that one.
No,
That's
I haven't either.
one. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, it's been around for a while, but it's a really good one.
Cool. What is a really good tool or resource that you could recommend?
I would say that I don't have like a specific brand, but I think it's important for everyone to have a planner of some sort. And why that's important is because you want to get organized. If you want to move the ball, it's about being effective each day. And how can you do that? It's through proper preparation, right? And so really figuring out, what are my priorities for the day? What am I going to work on? Being intentional about the things you're not going to work on and say no to because it's not a priority today. So you can plan that task out later in the week when it is a priority. And the other thing that I like about having a planner is sometimes we get so overwhelmed because there's so many things we're trying to juggle each day. And so usually we're thinking about, I have to get all these things done. Well, if you can train your brain to say, okay, well, you know what? I've got all these things to do, but maybe let's say today's Sunday. On Friday, I'm going to worry about these 3 things. So you write that in your planner. Well, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you're not worried about those 3 things because you already know that you've carved out time on Friday to handle that. So that also reduces the stress that you have when you tend to live an intentional life or plan out your days and you're not leaving it to randomness increases stress levels. So if you can reduce some of that by planning out and using an organizer or a planner, then it's just a more effective way to get things done. And you'll be happier each day because you'll feel like you got more done too.
Great tip and resource.
Now, how can people listening connect with you further?
Yes, so I'm very active on all the social channels, but LinkedIn is the one that I'm on the most. So if you just search Move the Ball or the hashtag Move the Ball, you can find me there. But if you search on any social platform, Instagram, Twitter, if you search Move the Ball, I'm sure you'll see me pop up.
We'll put some links in our show notes so people can reach out.
Yeah.
And what's your website again?
The website is JenniferAGarrett.com. The A is important. People always forget the A. But also I have a mailing list where people can sign up, and I'm always sending all kinds of motivational content and tips and strategies. And the website for that is thenextfirstdown.com.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on the show, you guys. I really appreciated the conversation.
I love her focus. She's so focused with her analogies and sticking with the football metaphors as well as the game plan. Click through to the show notes at inspiringshow.com into this episode, and we'll have all the links there for you.
So remember, until next time, you have a story and your story matters.